I call upon the spirit of the owl, messenger of wisdom. Welcome to the Temple of the Owl. Merry meet seekers of knowledge, for I am Matzal, your host through the mystic realms. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I hope whatever any problems you guys have, I hope you guys can overcome it. And I just hope everyone's having a blessed day. Here at the Temple of the Owl, located deep in the forests of Northern California, today we're going to be discussing Chalice and water magic. This is where we talk about spirituality on all levels, but it's through the perspective of a modern witch. As always, these are just ideas to help you live a magical life and make you think about things differently. Take the information and do what you want with it. I want to say a special thank you guys for your support, and thank you for those listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Check out troubledminds.org, and I'm inviting you to be a part of the conversations on Troubled Minds Radio. And thank you, Michael Strange, for inspiring these shows. We're going to jump into it today. We're going to be talking about chalice magic. It's kind of part of water magic, so it kind of goes together. And I like to start the show with what I call the MOD, or the message of the day. And it's a little quote that I find that helps me explain the show topic. And today's quote is, "The chalice resembles a cup or vessel, but more important, it resembles the shape of a woman's womb. The symbol communicates fertility, womanhood, and the fertility," and that's by the author Dan Brown. And I feel that because the chalice is one of the 4 primary tools in witchcraft, alongside with the athame, the dagger, the wand, and the pinnacle. Now, the chalice represents the element of water, the divine feminine, and the womb of creation. Used in rituals, spells, and sacred ceremonies, the chalice holds deep symbolic and magical significance. The chalice is one of the most sacred tools in witchcraft, Wicca, and other magical traditions. It represents the element of water, the divine feminine, and the womb of creation. It embodies the fluid, intuitive, and emotional energies of water. And it's often linked to feminine and creation. In many traditions, the chalice is paired with the athame, the ritual dagger, in ceremonies symbolizing the sacred union of the masculine and feminine energies. In myths and legends, the chalice is often depicted as a powerful object of wisdom and enlightenment. Fill the chalice with blessed water, wine, or herbal infusions for sacred rituals. Use it in offerings to deities, spirits, or ancestors. In Wiccan traditions, the chalice is used in the Great Rite. It's a symbolic union of divine energies. You fill the chalice with a liquid like water or tea or wine, and use it as a mirror for scrying. Whisper a question into the chalice before drinking, seeking intuitive answers. You can place crystals, herbs, or sigils in the chalice to charge them with magical energy. You could drink from the chalice during a ritual to absorb the spell's intuition into yourself, or intention of the spell. Use the chalice to hold blessed water, or put it under the full moon and drink it for emotional healing. Write your fears or negative emotions on paper. Place them under the chalice and let the energy transform them. You could leave a chalice of wine, milk, or honey on an altar as an offering to the spirits or the ancestors. You could use it in soul calling rituals to connect to your guides and protectors. Now, silver and pewter are popular for their lunar and mystical properties, but glass, wood, and ceramic also carry strong energies. Find the chalice that resonates with your spiritual path and intentions. Some witches inscribe their chalice with symbols like the triple moon, pentacle, or runes for added power. The chalice is more than just a cup. It's a portal to the divine, a vessel of transformation, a powerful magical tool. Let its sacred energy guide you in rituals and spell work. The chalice is deeply intertwined in tarot, particularly in the suit of cups, which represents emotions, intuition, relationships, and the subconscious mind. Just as the chalice is a sacred vessel in magic and ritual, the cups in the tarot act as a symbolic container for spiritual wisdom, love, and the flow of energy between realms. In the tarot, the cups, sometimes called chalices or goblets, are associated with the element of water, mirroring the chalice magical properties of receptivity, fluidity, and emotional depth. Each card in the suit of cups carries unique meanings. Let's go. Let's talk about this. The Ace of Cups. A divine gift, new love, spiritual awakening, overflowing intuition. The cup is often depicted overflowing with water, symbolizing abundance and divine blessings. The Two of Cups. Unity, deep emotional connection, sacred relationships. The shared chalice here represents harmony, balance, and the sacred union. The Three of Cups. Celebration, community, and shared joy, often linked in ritual gatherings where the chalice may be passed between participants. The Four of Cups. Reflection, introspection, spiritual fatigue. The chalice in this card may represent missed opportunities or divine messages that require deeper awareness. The Five of Cups. Loss, sorrow, and emotional hardship. The spilled chalices signify grief and transformation, reminding us to honor emotions before moving forward. And the Ten of Cups. Fulfillment, emotional harmony, divine blessings. The chalice here embodies love, joy, and deep spiritual contentment. Incorporating a chalice into your tarot practice can embrace intuition, divination, and spiritual connection. Now, I know those are just a few of the cards from the Suit of Cups. So, charging the cards. You could place a chalice of moon water or blessed wine beside your tarot deck and infuse it with psychic energy and emotional depth. You could take out your Suit of Cups and use that. In the readings, before a reading, take a sip of your chalice while focusing on your question to deepen intuitive and clarity. Scrying with the chalice. Fill a chalice with dark liquid like wine or tea and gaze into the surface for visions and hidden insights. You can offer a chalice of water or herbal infusion on your altar to honor ancestors and deities connected to wisdom and divination. You can use a chalice of salt water or herbal tea to cleanse your hands and your deck after a deep spiritual readings. Now, one of the most legendary chalices is often linked to the mystical wisdom and divine enlightenment and the hidden truths, and that's the Holy Grail. Concepts that resonate deeply with the tarot's journey and spiritual discovery. Some traditions believe that the Ace of Cups represent the Grail itself, offering a path to divine awakening and ultimate fulfillment. The Chalice and Tarot both serve as mirrors to the soul, revealing truths hidden beneath the surface. Whether you're reading tarot, casting spells, or meditating, the Chalice can act as a powerful tool for intuition, healing, and transformation. The Holy Grail is one of the most legendary and mystical artifacts in history. It's often depicted as a sacred chalice with divine properties, and primarily associated with Christian mythology, Arthurian legend, and esoteric traditions, symbolizing spiritual enlightenment, eternal life, and the divine wisdom. In Christian tradition, the Holy Grail is believed to be the cup that Jesus Christ used in the Last Supper, and later caught his blood during the crucifixion. Some legends claimed Joseph of Arimathea took the Grail to Britain, where it became a relic of mystical power. The Grail plays a central role in the Knights of the Round Table's myths. It is said to be hidden and can only be found by the pure of heart. Most famously, Sir Galahad, who achieves the Grail quest through divine purity. Some stories link the Grail to the Fisher King, a wounded guardian whose healing is tied to the Grail's discovery. Some occult traditions view the Grail as a symbol of spiritual transcendence and enlightenment, representing the divine feminine, the womb of creation, and inner transformation. In alchemy, the Grail is sometimes equated to the Philosopher's Stone, an object that grants eternal life and divine wisdom. The Holy Grail is a powerful archetype with deep spiritual meanings. The Grail is a vessel of cosmic knowledge and divine truth, accessible only to those on a path of enlightenment. It represents the chalice of the divine feminine, holding the energy of creation, fertility, and healing. The Grail quest is often seen as a metaphor for spiritual awakening, where the seeker must undergo trials to prove their worthiness. The Grail's water or content are said to bring eternal youth, healing, and even resurrection. In Arthurian legend, the Grail is attainable only by the purest souls, representing the quest for moral and spiritual perfection. For witches and spiritual practitioners, the Grail can be seen as the mystical chalice, representing the divine feminine, the womb, and the element of water. In some ways, witches might incorporate Grail symbolism into their craft. It could be a cup, concentrated as a magical tool to hold moon water, wine, or herbal brews. In sacred ceremonies, envisioning the Grail during meditations can lead to deep spiritual insights and guidance from higher realms. Creating herbal teas or potions in a sacred chalice, charging them with healing and spiritual energy. Using the wine or the water in a cup as a scrying tool to gain visions and hidden knowledge. Many have searched for the physical Grail, from the medieval knights to modern explorers. Some claimed relics include the Valencia Chalice in Spain, a cup believed by some to be the actual Holy Grail. The Nantios cup in Wales, said to have healing powers. The Chalice of Antioch, an ancient silver cup once thought to be the Grail. Many believe that the true Grail is not a physical object, but a spiritual journey, leading them to enlightenment and divine connection. The Holy Grail is more than just a relic. It's a symbol of ultimate spiritual quest, calling seekers to transcend the physical world and embrace the divine truth. Whether viewed through Christian, Arthurian, or a mystical lens, the Grail remains a powerful reminder of the sacred, the hidden, and the eternal mysteries of the universe. The Great Rite is deeply symbolic and sacred ritual in Wicca and some witchcraft traditions, representing the divine union of masculine and feminine energies. It embodies the cosmic balance of creation, fertility, and harmony, mirroring the sacred marriage. They found that in ancient spiritual traditions, the Great Rite is the ritualized union of the god and the goddess, often symbolized by the athame, which is the dagger, and that is the masculine god, sky, fire, sun, active energy, and the chalice, or the cup, which is the feminine, goddess, earth, water, moon, receptive energy. The athame is dipped into the chalice, symbolizing fertility, unity, and creation, a metaphor for the divine circle of life, death, and rebirth. The athame is dipped into the chalice during ritual, without physical intimacy. This is the most commonly practiced version, a real sexual union between concentrating partners, usually within a private or a sacred setting, to honor the divine creative forces. The joining of the masculine and feminine energies reflects balance and harmony within the universe. This act symbolizes the spark of creation, whether in the physical, spiritual, or magical essence. It represents the fertility of the land and the cycle of seasons, and the divine marriage between the god and goddess, especially during Beltane and Mabon. It's not just about the physical union, it represents the merging of the consciousness, the sun fire, with the intuition of the moon water. Now on May 1st, which is Beltane, that's the most common time to perform the Great Rite, because it symbolizes fertility, passion, and the union of the god and goddess. We also use it during Mabon and Samhain. Some traditions honor the Great Rite during harvest festivals or when working with the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In certain witchcraft paths, the Great Rite, whether symbolic or an actual, may be performed in initiatory rites. Here is a ritual. We have a chalice filled with wine or sacred brew, and an athame, a ritual dagger. You can light candles on your altar and cast the sacred circle. Call upon the elements and divine forces to create a protected ritual space. Call upon the masculine and the feminine aspects of divinity and bless the ritual. Hold the chalice and the athame. The chalice is held by one person or placed on the altar if you're doing it solitary, and the athame is held by another. Here's an example of a blessing. As the athame is to the god, so is the chalice to the goddess, and together they are one. Now you join the athame and the chalice. Simply lower the athame into the chalice, visualizing energy merging, creation, and divine union. And sometimes we dip it 3 times, symbolizing the triple goddess. And then you drink. If you're solitary, you drink, or if you're with a group, you share the blessing. Drink from the chalice to absorb the ritual's energy and intention. And then thank the divine forces, release the sacred space, and ground yourself. While traditionally tied to fertility and divine union, modern witches may interpret the Great Rite beyond gender binaries, seeing it as merging the energies of oneself, a balancing of the active and the receptive, light and dark, logic and intuition. Some witches adapt the Great Rite to the present to represent self-love, personal empowerment, or the balance of internal energies, rather than focusing on the external gender roles. Well, I want to know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments if you guys have any other rituals or any ideas about performing this Great Rite, and what do you guys think about it. And in my coven, we usually do this, like I said, during some rituals, mostly during Beltane, but it is something that I've seen as very powerful ritual by blending the two together. And the other one thing I wanted to talk about real quick was the part, of course, in my favorite movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they're hunting for the Grail. And my favorite part is that they go to this place and they have to pick this cup, and everybody thinks that the cup of Christ is this gold inladen, jeweled, crusted cup. But it turns out that it's not. It's just a regular clay cup, because Jesus was a carpenter. And I think that kind of shows you the power of this Grail. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. I release the spirit of the owl. Thank you guys. Blessed be.